Hello and welcome to the February USDA Report webinar from Progressive Ag, coming to you live from Fargo, North Dakota. My name is Lynn Baldus, an attorney with Progressive Ag Law. Joining me today is my fellow attorney from Progressive Ag Law, Peter Kemp, and Ray Grabansky, president and lead analyst for Progressive Ag Marketing. Let's start with you, Ray. What did you see in this report and what advice do you have to give to farmers?
Ho-hum is basically the market was down a couple of cents before the report. Right now we're down a couple of cents in corn, wheat, and soybeans. This is usually the biggest ho-hum report of the year in February, and then it heats up from there. So as far as numbers, Brazil's soybean production unchanged. Argentina's soybean production up 1.5 million metric tons. The production in corn of both Brazil and Argentina up. Brazil corn production up 2.5 million metric tons, good yield. Argentina up 1.4 million metric tons, a little more area planted. Ironically, the currency in South America has declined a lot. So prices seem pretty good compared to us, but our currency's been relatively strong, and so our prices are very, very poor. So global ending stocks, the next chart, numbers are up 6+ million metric tons in wheat. In corn, up just slightly. In soybeans, up just a little over 1 million metric tons. So collectively, this was slightly bearish report. The U.S. stocks use numbers up a little bit in wheat, corn, and soybeans. In corn, notice that's a 13.6% stocks to use. And so our next slide, we show the corn price versus that stocks to use ratio. Pretty nicely fitted curve, and actually at about 13.6, you're basically looking at a national average price of about $3.50. That's about where we're sitting now. So collectively, the news that I expect over the next few months, listen very closely, this is what I think it will be. Nothing. Prices will sit here at $3.50 probably for 2 or 3 months, and it might be April 1st. We'll actually get into, we have big stocks. We had 2 record crops in a row. The stocks grew a little bit in this report, but we're going to have low prices, and then next year begins. And with a new year comes all the possibilities. Could be a drought, could be a big crop, who knows? But prices, you know, we've got, what, a 20% loss projected in corn, maybe an 80 cents a bushel loss projected for next year. And that is a huge loss. That should, you know, the old saying was the cure for low prices is low prices. Guys, we have low prices. And so that will be our cure. People will plant less. They won't put a lot of, you know, lace the ground with fertilizer and spend a lot of money on this crop because they're losing money. And that'll be for every grower in the world, basically. So we will have less production, and it's very likely that prices will start to go up around April 1st, and we might go up 25, 3-4 cents a month in corn, very slow. It might go up 5 to 7, 8 cents a month after 3 months, maybe in July. I think by next winter at this time, we might be 50 to 75 cents higher. So essentially, we might only lose a nickel a bushel at that time. We're not looking at big money here, guys, but like we've been saying since November, the best thing you can do now is not sell anything. Buy, sell puts. The market will do nothing for a while. Buy the market April 1st, and essentially, we might eventually get a decent price. We might break even, actually, at some point in a year or so.
All right. Thanks for the market update, Ray. I also know Progressive Ag is doing some work on this ARTCO issue about counties receiving payments. What information do you have on that?
This is going to be a very big deal. Lynn, you drew up a lot of those states and showed where people were paid on, we had a base based on NAS yields west of the Mississippi. We probably have maybe 60 to 75% of the counties of western states were paid on a switch to an RMA yield, which a lot of smart people say is 10 bushels higher on corn, for example, than the NAS yields So farmers in 60–70% of the counties west of the Mississippi may have been underpaid, and that is a big problem. It might be, hundreds of millions of dollars that they were underpaid. And someone has to say this is not right, or they're going to keep doing it for 4 more years of the Farm Bill. So someone is going to have to stand up and say this is not right. Fortunately, we're working with some of the best lawyers in the world, I think. I'm a little biased, but I think they're some of the best lawyers in the world. So when we have a battle, if we have a battle with USDA, like we have a battle with Syngenta right now, some people wrong farmers, and someone needs to stand up. They're shooting bullets. We're in a battle with them. Someone has to stand up and shoot bullets back. We can't duck behind the rocks and hide. We have to stand up for ourselves. And it's time to do that in ARCO, and it's time to do that in Syngenta. And we have a limited amount of time to do that in Syngenta. In ARCO, there's also a statute of limitations for that. There are limitations, so we need to do something. And on February 22nd through the 26th, we will be having meetings across North Dakota, starting in Lisbon, North Dakota. I think we've got 8 meetings that week, and we are going to have farmers engage Progressive Ag and our national litigation team with Syngenta to represent them. First, it will be to try and get them administratively to fix this problem. And if they don't fix it administratively, we may have to take them to court.
Okay. And we'll be sure to provide more information on that ARCO case as we have more in upcoming webinars, so be sure to watch out for that. And now we did mention the Syngenta case. I want to go over to Peter. I know farmers have been hearing a lot about this case. What are the basic facts, and what are some of the options farmers have for this case?
Thank you, Lynn. Most farmers by now have heard about the Syngenta case and how Syngenta released a GMO variety that was unapproved by some major export markets, including China. This variety eventually infiltrated the general corn supply, and once China detected it in its imports, it began rejecting American corn. The loss of the Chinese market has affected every corn farmer to the tune of 11 to 50 cents per bushel, according to the National Grain and Feed Association, and that's for the 2013 crop year. We do not dislike the trait that Syngenta released. It is, by all accounts, a pretty safe and effective variety of corn that can bring some real benefits to farmers. This is not an anti-GMO case, nor is it a case born of ill will towards Syngenta. This is a case about Syngenta prioritizing its profits over the well-being of farmers. It is about ensuring that seed companies take responsible steps to get their varieties approved by our trading partners before releasing them. Syngenta's actions hurt farmers. We are merely asking them to settle up. My main takeaway today is for farmers to seriously consider their options. So before the weather warms up, before you head back into the field, take some time to think about this case. Visit us at progressiveaglaw.com and see what we bring to the table. Progressive Ag Law has partnered with Phipps, Anderson, Deacon, who have experienced litigating GMO market closures, as this short video will explain.
My name is Martin Phipps, and I am from the great big town of Breckenridge, Texas. I grew up in a town I like to tell people had 3 stoplights. Those values you bring from a small town, being honest, telling the truth, and standing up and believing in something, is something that we do here at our firm.
I'm Barry Deacon. I'm originally from Arkansas, grew up in a family law firm. Farming's been a big part of my professional life in representing farmers and agricultural related entities my entire practice.
You may ask why hire Phipps, Anderson, and Deacon. The best answer I give you is because we are so proud to represent farmers that it's the most important thing when you walk into our building and see what we do.
Part of my background was being involved in representing a co-op of rice farmers against bare crop science in the rice litigation that began in 2006. With my background in the rice litigation, that's important because that was genetically modified rice that was being experimentally tested that contaminated the U.S. rice crops. That litigation is very, very similar to the Syngenta corn litigation where an unapproved trait was marketed to China.
What you're going to find out in this case is when Syngenta released Viptera to sell to you, they hadn't even applied to China for approval. Because of that, they took a risk, and that risk ended with you losing the China market. When you're choosing a lawyer to represent you in the Syngenta litigation, every lawyer is going to tell you that they're the best. We don't have to say anything to you. We just want you to look at our record. We are the lawyers who tried and won the Rice case. We're the lawyers that developed the damage models. We're the lawyers that got the punitive damage verdicts. The Rice case settled for $750 million. I'm very proud to tell you that my farmers, the people that I represented, got $50 million more than everybody else. We get asked every day, is this going to be a class action? And I want to make the answer real clear. We're not class action lawyers. We represent individual farmers against Syngenta and other big companies. And why do we do that? Because class actions don't help the clients. They only help the lawyers. Each one of you farm differently. Each one of your damages are different. So what we believe is we're going to represent you individually and not like some class action lawyer.
We are certainly not against the technology that Syngenta has come up with in producing their seed. We're actually for that technology because it's good for the American farmer. What we have a fault with is what Syngenta has done in marketing its corn. It's done it in an irresponsible way, and that has affected all of us.
I don't know about you, but we need more places to sell our corn, not less. And so all we're asking Syngenta to do is to stand up and do the right thing. The same thing you do every day when anybody comes to you with an issue. You may ask what makes us different at Phipps Anderson Deacon. The answer is simple, is we care. I've been on a combine and I know how hard it is to farm. And because I'm gonna make sure when I get done with this case and I come and sit in your living room, that you're proud that I'm your lawyer.
We are handling these cases on a contingency fee basis, which means we will not be paid unless we successfully try or settle the lawsuit, and we will pay the cost of litigation. We believe in this case, and we are putting our money where our mouth is.
Thanks, Peter. It sounds like something every farmer should keep in mind and think about. I've heard that the Syngenta case is going to be a class action. Is that true?
Well, a class action case has been filed down in Kansas, but the class has not been certified. What certification means is that the court recognized the lawyers in Kansas will be representing all farmers in one class, and any farmer who is not signed up with an attorney will be swept into that class action lawsuit and will not be able to sign up with an attorney of their own choosing. We, as was described in the video, are not representing farmers in a class action lawsuit, but individually.
Okay, so what is the difference between that individual representation and a class action lawsuit?
Well, a class action is really just a one-size-fits-all solution. It can be an effective way to handle cases with large numbers of plaintiffs. However, we believe that this case warrants some more individualized representation. We want to take these cases as local as possible and use all the legal tools we can to recover for our farmers. This includes consequential damages, which account for the acres you shifted out of corn production due to the drop in price. And as of now, the class action hasn't asked for those damages.
Okay, so you said the class will be certified. When do you expect that to happen? When will farmers no longer be able to make that choice?
Well, the motion, it's hard to say because it's up to the judge in Kansas, and I can't predict what that judge is going to do, but the hearing scheduled on the class action certification is mid-July, so expect the certification or non-certification to come down somewhere in late summer to early fall.
Right when farmers are gearing up for harvest then?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I've also heard about Syngenta being bought out by ChemChina. What's the status with that, and does that affect our case at all?
Yeah, there's a Chinese company called ChemChina that has made an offer to purchase Syngenta. There's a long ways to go, whether this deal will be finally approved, whether it will pass musters of regulation, and there's no indication yet how this will affect the outcome of the case. Okay. It does not remove Syngenta's potential liability, however.
There's a lot of discussion about what impact that will have. And one potential impact is maybe it will be settled a lot earlier if ChemChina does not want to acquire an unlimited or open-ended liability. So it actually might be good news. It could be bad news, lots of conjecture basically. You know, you mentioned class action, and we do not want to pursue the Syngenta case on a class action, but other lawyers are. Ironically, ARCO might be more amenable It's still, even we debate that amongst ourselves, to a class action, because all farmers, for example, in Lemoore County, North Dakota, were equally damaged by, if they were shorted 50 cents a bushel, which, that's conjecture, but if they were shorted 50 cents a bushel, every grower with corn base was affected equally. That is more amenable to a class action than the Syngenta case.
Yeah, and that is something that we'll be investigating, whether a class action or individualized representation will be best for the farmers in this case. And as always, whenever we represent and take cases, we want to make sure the options and the avenues we pursue are going to have the best results for the farmers that we serve.
Actually, one of the best attorneys ever in doing administrative law is Sarah Vogel. Sarah Vogel has beaten USDA FHA in 1983 when she put a moratorium on farm foreclosures during the farm crisis. In 1999, she beat USDA RMA in a Durham lawsuit, a $42 million Durham lawsuit. And I've talked with Sarah Vogel personally, and she is amenable to consulting on this case. So there's a battle-tested lawyer, a lawyer who stands up and shoots bullets when we need to for farmers. And also Martin Phipps and James Lee, Justin Damarath, and the attorneys that we're affiliated with nationally are battle-tested lawyers. They're not going to hide behind rocks when farmers are affected. They're going to get up and shoot bullets. I can guarantee that. And we've discussed this case at length. They will be at our meetings on February 22nd to the 28th. I believe Martin Phipps himself, the man who settled with Bayer Crop Science for $750 million, a battle-tested lawyer, will be there as well. So it's going to be electric. It's going to be exciting. I believe they will have engagement contracts to represent those farmers who come to the meeting as their representative. First administratively, I believe, and if they have to, we will have to actually pursue an action on behalf of those farmers. So that is almost a certainty that will happen that week.
Okay. Now I want to transition back to the market report. I know you've been saying for a while now that bottoms last months and tops last minutes. Why are we in this bottom right now? I know a lot of farmers recognize the low corn prices. What's really driving and keeping these corn prices low?
Big stocks. Our stocks-to-use ratio is 13.6%. That's 350 corn. You saw that chart that, historically. We had back-to-back, a record yield in corn last year. We barely missed it this year by just a few bushel. We had a record yield in soybeans last year. This year we beat that. So big crops, big stocks, boring market.
Gotcha. So the February report generally isn't known as the big blockbuster report for the year. Was there anything especially interesting here, something that really caught your eye as you looked through the report this time?
Simple answer is no. But actually, there is another group of reports in February. USDA Ag Outlook for the coming year comes later here in February, and I believe we have a webinar scheduled for that. I believe it's Friday morning. They release their projections for the year, and that is interesting. That begins the focus on the new crop year. Okay. And of course, farmers, in Texas, they'll be going out and planting corn around March 1st, and that starts the planting year. Around April 1st, April 15th, sometimes in North Dakota we don't get started till May 1st, but depends on the weather. But definitely that brings up a new possibility, and we always say on the farm, hope springs eternal. And we have a new crop year, anything can happen.
All right, so any final words of wisdom or thoughts on this February report for farmers?
Well, like we've been saying for a long time, actually, buy feed, buy futures, sell puts. And we get around to April 1st or April 15th, somewhere around there, you might even buy some call options. I think that we have a chance to take this market up. It's going to be slow. It's going to be boring. We have a lot of other things to do this winter. Negotiate your cash rents down, because that will be a more productive thing than certainly selling grain.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us here in Fargo. Remember that you can catch all of our webinars on our website, www.progressiveaglaw.com. And while you're there, you can read more about the Syngenta case and take a look at the contract we have up online. Thanks for watching.